All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. Going to be breaking down the pretty big Wednesday slate that we have here, guys. 9-game slate. What's interesting is we're not actually getting that many values just yet for this slate, so that's going to make it a little bit more difficult. Now, that being said, it is a 9-game slate. We probably will be getting more value throughout the day, so just be checking the data, making sure you're making the best picks possible. But based on how it currently sits right now, we'll be talking about all the top plays and the best lineup construction for this slate. So one interesting thing about this slate is just the amount of higher up plays that are kind of questionable or out here for this game, guys, or for this slate. So I do think Cade Cunningham is going to end up playing. And if he does end up playing, I do think he's going to be one of the better plays here going against Chicago, but he's questionable. So we do worry about that. You also have SGA in a game against Utah, which is a phenomenal matchup, but he's, to me, clearly overpriced. I think he could actually end up sitting in this game because they're 19.5 point favorites, even though that game is, kind of an appealing game. We have a lot of the Denver players that are also currently questionable as well. If Jamal Murray ends up playing, I don't mind him as a play. He actually looks very appealing. But also he is priced up enough, and he's coming in off of 2 good games, but now he gets a matchup against Boston where that game could end up being a blowout. We have James Harden and Embiid currently questionable. Just a lot of the plays that we would want to be paying up for are questionable. Really, the only play that we can feel comfortable getting to here on this 9-game slate is, once again, Jalen Johnson, and he's coming in off of a game that was a little bit of a disappointment there, and he ended up with a double-double in that game still. So definitely an interesting slate, and just kind of looking at some of the lineups I was able to make, they're not that high in terms of the total projected fantasy score. So it is a tighter slate and definitely a more interesting slate. Typically for these 9-game slates, we'll get a player or two that are just standout plays that you need to be rostering, and we don't exactly get that. And so I do think it's worth kind of looking at these games here, guys, just kind of going game by game a little bit here in regards to the lineups and the projected starting lineups. So yeah, this Boston game, a 9.5 point spread, kind of a lower scoring game. We do see a lot of players for Denver are questionable. That could be a source of value. And I do like the fact that that's going to be a game in which we are getting the news prior. I do like that. Then Toronto versus Charlotte, guys. Brandon Miller currently questionable. Diaby currently questionable. I'm kind of expecting them both to play. If Brandon Miller were to sit, we'd be looking at Con and also Bridges a little bit more. Colin Sexton would become a little bit more appealing. This Chicago versus Detroit game, an almost 11-point spread in favor of Detroit winning. Paul Reed is currently one of the better values I'll talk about in just a second, but he's priced up now. I don't know if I necessarily love that value. And then we look at Chicago, guys. Modest could end up sitting. Kobe White currently questionable as well. I still think we could be looking at AO and Kevin Huerter, but they're kind of priced up enough as well. And so we don't necessarily get great plays there for them. Washington, everyone's correctly priced. The Pelicans, I do think, are a decent spot for us. So we know Bay's out. Herbert Jones is currently questionable. We'll talk about them in just a second. Well, we'll talk about them now. So I do think that this game is a little bit appealing. Trey Murphy, to me, is vastly underpriced. He's coming off of 2 50-point nights. I'm expecting him to play. And so he's kind of just an easy click for me on this slate, guys, especially in this matchup against Atlanta, a matchup that I'm not really worried about. I don't know if you guys are worried about it. I'm not worried about it. If we look at what he's projected to do, almost 5x, projected to get about 36 fantasy points. And I would say that's fair. I think that's a floor projection, though. I think Trey Murphy could end up going for more than that. So I do like that, a decent amount there for him. Some of the other plays here for the Pelicans will pull them up. Derek Queen is kind of looking like a 5x value. I'm okay with that. If Herbert Jones plays, maybe we could look at him a little bit. If he sits, Fears becomes a little bit more intriguing. Missy becomes a little bit more intriguing if Herbert Jones ends up sitting. But I like this game total. It's a very high scoring game. I like into some of the plays here in this game. And so, especially if we're maybe looking at playing Jalen Johnson, who is about a 5.2x value, I do think we'd want to be getting to another play there. But I think Trey Murphy is just kind of the easy click on the slate, just because of his strong floor, but also his upside. And so from there, we'll take a peek at Orlando versus Brooklyn, guys. Orlando still without Suggs and Wagner's. But that's a low scoring game. We don't really want to be attacking that game. Clippers versus New York, another kind of lower scoring game. Not really appealing there. Phoenix versus Memphis. Lots of injuries there for Memphis, but this is a close game, not a terrible game total. I do think we could be looking at some plays there in that game, but all of them are more shoulder shrug plays. They're all kind of correctly priced. And then we do take a peek at Utah versus OKC. OKC is pretty banged up here, guys, but this is about a 19.5 point spread. We do know that Ace Bailey could end up playing in this game, so I don't mind Ace Bailey. It's just tough. It's tough. I don't like SGA in this game. I think Jalen Williams, we don't really need to get to. We're probably going to be looking at a lot of the backups for OKC, which is what the data is telling us to do as well. And so, yeah, we do take a peek at some of the OKC plays, guys. Aaron Wiggins is popping up as a good value. AJ Mitchell, I do like a decent amount. And Casson Wallace, not terrible there as well. Jalen Williams is popping up as a decent play. I guess I'm fine getting to Jalen Williams, but also I think Aaron Wiggins is interesting. But AJ Mitchell, I think, is kind of the solid easy click right now at 4.8. And then as the day progresses, we can kind of upgrade there. But if we just look at kind of the overall value today, this is including all the games here, just on the cheat sheet here. Paul Reed is the best value. And then it is going to be some of those plays there in that OKC game. So again, very limited in regards to the best values that we have. Can't control that. We are just going to plug in some of those plays, and if we can upgrade to better, safer value later on in the day, we'll do that. So yeah, we'll go back to Paul Reed, guys, who does draw a good matchup, but I feel like he is properly priced. I don't know. I do struggle a little bit there. It is a good matchup, but I feel like we're just expecting like 5x, with him from him. And then Jalen Williams we'll get to as well. I think we're okay with that. AJ Mitchell, again, I'm okay with getting to him. I think he's a solid play. Gets a good matchup. Even if this game ends up being a blowout, I do think we can kind of trust him to give us 5x. But again, we want more than that, obviously. And I don't know how much more he offers that. Maybe 6x. Aaron Wiggins is also kind of a fine play due to get more minutes here in this game. We're okay with that. Love the multiple position eligibility out of him as well. And then Casson Wallace as well. Casson Wallace there as well. I don't necessarily love this play, and so I'm probably not getting there, although in a pinch, if you guys need to, sure. So we do have about 7.2 left over here, kind of for the first look build. And again, I do like the idea of playing up for Cade Cunningham, but also it's just not all that sexy, honestly, with that game, potentially being a blowout. Again, I kind of mentioned this Phoenix versus Memphis game. In a weird way, it's kind of the most appealing because we're not worrying about a blowout and it should stay close. Jaren Jackson Jr. is someone that, we could look for to get us 40 plus DFS points, but also he's been a little bit hit or miss. John Morant is coming off of 2 40 plus point nights. I'm kind of okay getting to him, with how banged up Memphis is. They do need him to play some minutes here, and that's kind of what we're banking on. So I think we could get to him. Again, kind of chasing that upside. And then we still have 6.9 left over. We'll figure out who we can play at the forward spot. I'm okay with Zion. I'm okay with Scotty Barnes. Again, I'm okay with Jaren Jackson. Miles Bridges is probably the most intriguing to me, especially if we do get news that like Brandon Miller ends up sitting. I'm okay chasing that for now. But again, we probably will upgrade that as the day progresses. And then 6.5 left over here. I'm okay getting to Khan. I'm okay getting to Paul George. Khan becomes much more appealing. Again, if we get news that Brandon Miller sits, I'll be getting to Derek Queen, hoping that game ends up staying close. So this is the slate though here, guys. Like this is honestly a pretty ugly build for this time of the day when I'm recording this video, but overall we kind of are forced into that. And if we go ahead and take a peek at some of the lineups that were getting produced from the lineup builder, the top lineup is only projected for about 260 here. Obviously, like that's not great as well. I don't mind AO just as an FYI there, but this is the slate. Like I wonder if we scroll down here. Yeah, we're not getting to anyone too chalky. Aaron Wiggins, Dyson Daniels, Derek Queen, Jock Lando. That's interesting. Not as much Paul Reed as I would have thought as well. So that is what's interesting about this slate is like the ownership probably will be spread out as the news currently sits, right? We're not getting any slate breaking news at all on a 9-game slate, which is interesting. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully that helps you put your best foot forward here for this slate, or maybe it helps you to not attack the slate as much as you typically would for NBA DFS slate. Guys, be on the lookout for some NFL DFS coverage dropping tonight or tomorrow morning. I'll be covering the Saturday slate and the Sunday slate as well. I appreciate you guys. Good luck with all your lineups. If you guys would like access to those tools, make sure to head on over to 905sports.com. That'll give you access to the NFL, or all the tools, but the NBA cheat sheet and the NBA DFS lineup optimizer for DraftKings. Those are all available for a low monthly cost of $10 a month. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck, and as always, let's keep cashing.